Good morning. Welcome to Up to the Minute. It is a Thursday, September the 9th. Hard to believe we are dead set in September here. We're just moving along with this year. Carolina Linares is here this morning. Going to be talking about some HCC news and information later in the show. Carolina, good morning to you.
Good morning, Todd. So good to see you again. Almost Friday, almost the week is over.
Yeah, it's like we've had a bit of a short week. We seemed like a day ahead. Tuesday seemed like Monday. Wednesday seemed like Tuesday. Today, it seems like Thursday, though. We are right on the weekend, so that's coming up. We are back on HCCTV with Up to the Minute. You can watch us daily. Of course, we're live on Facebook and YouTube every morning at 10 a.m., and you can catch us on HCCTV, the rebroadcast at noon and 5 p.m. But you can always catch us in social media. Make sure you follow us. Carolina has more information on that.
Absolutely. So please reach out to us. Find us as Houston Community College District on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Snapchat. And like you said, we're back at our HCCTV cable channel. And that happens at noon and 5 p.m. That's through from Monday through Friday. And so check your local listings for that.
All right, Carolina, sit back. We are going to check in with you in a little while and talk about some news and announcements for HCC's community. We've got a couple of special guests. HCC's Larry Hendricks. He's an adjunct instructor, 3D artist, and animator, and he works with HCC's Digital Gaming and Simulation Center of Excellence. Good morning, Larry. How are you? Well, I think your mic's still muted. Okay, we'll check in with you in a little while. So we were going to say good morning, but we'll check in with you in about 10 minutes or so. So sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and we'll see you shortly because we're going to talk about that program. Since, we started this whole COVID thing in March of 2020, where we all started working remotely, we started a segment on the show called the Thursday Virtual Family Fun Day. It's kind of transformed over the years, and the idea was to give you a glimpse behind the scenes of many museums and institutions around the country that were off doing offerings online. Well, a lot of them reopened now, and we're talking now with the Library of Congress. Leanne Potter is the Director of Professional Learning and Outreach Initiatives. Good morning to you, Leanne. How are you?
Good morning, Todd. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for being here. We've got a few things we want to talk about, one of them relating to Houston, but we want to start off talking about a book festival you guys are highlighting.
Yes, I wanted to let you know that, as you mentioned, when COVID happened and so many cultural institutions started developing content online and doing virtual programming, the Library of Congress has really embraced the opportunity. And for 20 years, the library has hosted the National Book Festival. And last year was the first time we did it virtually. And we had lots of lessons learned, and we are back this year better than ever. And it's coming up later this month. So if everybody could mark their calendars for September 17th through the 26th is the National Book Festival, featuring more than 100 authors and illustrators of every imaginable genre. We've got children's authors and teen authors. We have fiction and nonfiction. We have biography. We have science, something literally for everyone.
I had a chance to visit the Library of Congress back when we went to DC for spring break. I want to say it was 2016, way before COVID. It was phenomenal. I'd never been there before. I got some great pictures inside, was able to visit there for a little while. So I encourage anyone, if you get a chance to go to DC, check it out. You guys are reopened, I would imagine. And are you asking people to wear masks or their safety precautions? How's it work?
Exactly. Yes, the library is reopened, not fully. We're still asking folks to register in advance. We are open to researchers who register in advance. We are encouraging everyone to wear masks, but plan ahead like everything in DC. If you look at the website in advance, plan your visit, know what the expectations are. But we are happy to be welcoming folks back. And again, happy to be offering things at a distance so that folks who can't come, have a chance to really benefit from the organization.
I know we spoke, when was it? Well over a year ago.
I was going to say about a year ago.
It was about a year ago. But you've got something new that's going on. You've got some newly digitized collections that you're highlighting. And one of them may be of interest for Houstonians.
Yeah, I think a couple of them I hope will be. So as you know, when you say the Library of Congress, everybody assumes books, and that's absolutely true. The library's got millions of them. But the library also has some extraordinary collections in different media. And among them are photograph collections. And one of the collections that I thought your viewers might be interested in is a collection of photographs by a photographer named Carol Highsmith, who is still with us. And she has been donating her photograph collections to the library. And what's really special about her collection is that these are contemporary photographs of places like Houston. And if you go on the library's website and you do a search on photographs in the Carol Highsmith collection, you can find nearly 500 photographs of the Houston area. And what, again, is really exceptional is not only are they amazing photographs, but when Carol donated them to the library, she did something really amazing. She donated the rights to those photographs to the American people. So this is an amazing collection of contemporary photographs that are copyright free. And for students who are developing content for courses that they're taking, anytime you can incorporate materials that are copyright free, that's really exciting. So I wanted folks to know about that. And again, the photographs are amazing. And because they are unique to Texas, as well as many, many other places around the country, I think it's worth checking out.
Speaking of collections, newspapers have always been fascinating. Back when, here in Houston, I think we get 3 editions of a physical newspaper. Everything's online. But the old newspapers, you guys have some historic ones that are available for people to see. Maybe you can tell us about that collection.
Yes. And so Chronicling America is an amazing collection of historic newspapers. And it's a partnership between the Library of Congress and the National Endowment for the Humanities to make available digitized newspapers. And what's amazing is that this is not like the old days when you tried doing research in historic newspapers on microfilm and you've spent hours looking for something of interest. Chronicling America does complete text searches. So when you do a search, not only do you find what you're looking for, but the term you searched on comes back to you highlighted. So it's pretty magical as far as I'm concerned. But what's interesting, I did some poking around for today. And many of you in Houston know that 121 years ago, Houston and Galveston were dealing with the aftermath of a horrendous hurricane.
Yeah.
And if you go into Chronicling America and you do some searching on newspapers from Houston, Texas, for September the 9th, 1900, the coverage of the hurricane that hit Galveston is really quite amazing. And again, there are something like 62 Texas newspapers now available through Chronicling America, but more and more are always being digitized. So again, if folks are looking for historic newspapers, Chronicling America is an amazing resource. And if you do a search on today's date, I think those will be of real interest.
Definitely so. Check that out. And one thing that interests me as well, people may not be familiar with the Works Progress Administration, but this was a program established by, I believe, President Roosevelt in the 30s during the Great Depression to put Americans back to work. They had to advertise these before we had social media. You didn't have much radio back then as well. So what they did is they made posters, and you guys have some of those, which I think those are kind of fascinating.
Yes, and those WPA posters are also part of a new digitized collection on the library's website. And like the Highsmith collection and like the historic newspapers, they're rights free. So if students want to incorporate these kinds of materials into work that they're doing, they certainly have the ability to do so. And one that I highlighted and I sent to your producer, Melanie, is one about back to school, which seems very appropriate for September. Yeah. And again, that WPA poster collection is now available on the library's website, and definitely worth a look.
And trust me, folks, if you're in the business of doing what we do, finding royalty-free pictures is a challenge, and it's a reward when you get to find those. So it's always great to know that you guys have a large, extensive, it sounds like you have a pretty good catalog of images.
Well, it's amazing. And again, the website keeps getting better and better in terms of being able to do searches and identify certain facets to make what it is. I mean, there's something like 38 million items on the library's website. That's kind of a lot. And it gets
crazy.
It is crazy. But again, this is the Library of Congress. It's America's library. Sure. These materials belong to all of us, and we should be making good use of them. So
Leanne Potter, we appreciate you joining us. Good to see you again.
Good to see you as well, Todd. Thanks so much.
Thank you. We'll talk to you again soon. Take care.
Bye.
And if you're interested in these collections, we're going to have some links in the social media post of the show, so make sure you check them out. Okay, on to our HCC guest for the morning, Larry Hendricks. He's an adjunct instructor for HCC's Digital Gaming and Simulation Center of Excellence. Welcome to the show, Larry. How are you? Let's see if we can get your mic working. It's the unmute button on the bottom left. And you should be able to unmute it with those little X across it. There we go. I think we can hear you. Yeah, we got connection here. Good to see you. I believe this is the first time with us, but I wanted to talk to you about the gaming and simulation industry. For students, I imagine you have a lot of students who want to go get into it. I love video games. I want to produce them. I want to make them. I want to create them. Is that a viable career living in the Houston area?
Most definitely. The gaming industry is a $180 billion industry, and Texas is the second largest state for game development. Students can make $54,000 entry level. After 3 years, it goes up to $84,000. So most of the studios, there are in Dallas, they're in Austin. Houston is fast growing. We're helping a lot of smaller studios grow, and they're going to need fresh, young talent in order to help those grow. And that's what we do at HCC.
And so if you're living in Houston, because, especially with the nature of what, artists would do, you can do a lot of your work online remotely. Are you able to work with these studios from home in Houston? And do they accept that as work? Do you work as a contractor or a full-time employee? Maybe both.
Well, the thing is, you can work remotely here in Houston with local companies, but you can also work all over the world. So it's not just Texas, is not just the United States. If you want to work in Japan, you want to work with European countries. China is a fast growing market. If you want to work there. The thing is, you can just work from home, turn in the work, and it's global. It's not just like, it's basically all over the world.
Right.
Gaming is growing all over the world, and you just need more fresh young talent to keep it going.
If you're one thing I was kind of amazed when speaking with people from your Center of Excellence is that how many people are involved with producing an actual video game. You've got animators, artists, people who score music. You've got people who write the programs. You've got a team of people that are working on this goal. Any idea, and this may be depending on the game itself, from a game from start to finish where it's released to a market, how long does that take? Are we talking years processing to getting a game launched?
The average turnaround is from 24 to 36 months. You have some games that, depending on the complexity of the game, takes maybe 12 months. And then you have your games, your AAA titles that can take up to 5 to 6 years to come out. So it's a cooperative effort. You work with the artists, work with the programmers, they work with the designers to make sure that everything is working the way it's supposed to. Textures are working properly. The models are animating properly. So that's an effort that can take many months. Like I say, it could take up to 5 to 6 years depending on the complexity of the game.
But the rewards are great. But the catchy part is, if you've got a game that's going to take anywhere from 2, maybe 3 years to develop, that's a long time to get. You've got to get a lot of capital to get that started up. But from what I hear, the investment in the long term is phenomenal because this will pay more than a blockbuster movie.
Well, the thing is you're learning a lot while you're working with that studio. You got people that you could learn from, veterans that you can learn techniques, learn best practices from. So even with those years, the thing is, I've been in this industry for 20 years, and I'm still learning something new every day, and I'm going to continue to learn something new every day, and that's just the business. So even though you're spending years making one game, you're learning so much, and you're always going to continue learning.
Larry, tell us about the courses you're teaching currently at HCC.
Right now, I'm teaching basic 3D modeling. So I teach the students that prop modeling is usually the entry level when it comes to getting into the game. So by the time they're finished with the course, they have the knowledge, they have the foundation to create simple models that they can go to those studios and say, hey, I want to just model these simple props for the game. And studios are always needing those modelers, especially within the last few months of development. I also teach animation. So animation works in games, but of course it also works in movies and film.
Right.
And definitely works in simulation. Houston, it has a big simulation community, and they need animators to be able to advertise their oil and gas, advertise other industries as well.
Sure. You guys have something called Game Jam. Tell us about that.
So these global game jams, they happen about 2 or 3 times a year. Students and industry professionals get together and they take a game from concept to prototype within a matter of like 2 to 3 days. It's a great learning experience. The students are able to work with the actual professionals, pick their brains when they need to, learn the basic process that, it's not all that glamorous, but once you get something working correctly, then that's the payoff. And they learn that, hey, this is something that I can definitely do for a living, especially if they have the passion to do it.
You also encourage your students to check out some of these studios as well and get a chance to visit them?
Correct. So every so often we take field trips to the game studios so that they can see the actual work environment that they're preparing for. They talk with some former students. I tell students all the time, every game that you see, get blown away by what you see, but remember that those artists started at the same place that they're starting right now. So, and then it's one thing for me as a teacher to tell them, but it's another thing as an art director to tell them the same thing. It tends to stick more when that happens.
Tell us, Larry, if you could give some advice, what's the biggest misconception that students come into your classes with and things you have to dispel before getting started?
The biggest one is I tell them that this is an industry of entertainment, so you're not necessarily guaranteed a job when you come into this course. You're not just competing with people at HCC, you're not just competing with people in Houston or Texas or the United States. You're competing with people all over the world, so you have to make sure that you see the world as your competition when it comes to creating art content, creating animation content. That's the mindset that you have to have in order to get a job in this industry.
I know we're enrolling for a second start semester right now. Are there classes available if someone's interested in enrolling today for September 20th?
There are animation classes that are going to be coming up. There are also going to be perspective drawing classes that are going to be coming up, level design classes that are going to be coming up. So if you're just coming in, those are good entry-level classes to participate in. You learn a lot, and you get to work with programmers. You get to work with the audio people of different data structures. So it's a good place to just jump in, get your feet wet, see if it's for you, and just have fun.
Larry Hendricks, he's an adjunct instructor for HCC's Digital Gaming and Simulation Center of Excellence. We'll have some information on the programs and in the post of this show in our social media post. Larry, thanks for being here.
Thank you. It was fun.
All right, you take care. Okay, we are going to move on to Carolina with our news and announcements. So Carolina, we've got We got something we've been doing here at HCC, something special, and it's looking to help our neighbors in the East in the wake of Hurricane Ida.
You're right, Todd. I was so surprised when I received this email. So as we know, Hurricane Ida was wreaked havoc on our Louisiana neighbors, but we can help those in need, and faculty, staff, and also the students can still assist those who have been affected by giving whatever you can, and it will be matched dollar for dollar by the HCC Foundation. Now, with the goal to raise 10,000 or more, we have surpassed already to more than 10,000. And donations go through our partner, Houston Food Bank, and HCC is also working with partners like PepsiCo Foundation and Gallery Furniture. So each of you can get involved by going to the link we will provide in our post after the show.
Okay, setting up for the future. Each month, HCC's Financial Aid Department hosts Zoom sessions to connect you with experts to go over ways to pay for your education. September sessions are this week, as a matter of fact, 2 p.m. Monday through Friday, September 7th through the 10th. So that's going on through tomorrow at 2 p.m. We'll have the link to register in the post after the show. Career Training Expo, that's happening as well, Carolina.
Yes, HCC is helping our students to find jobs with another career training and education expo. This one is with Workforce Solutions, and it will happen tomorrow, Friday, September the 10th at 8 a.m. to noon. And the link is hccs.edu/HCC Expo. Now you can register today, and we will also have that link provided in the post.
Throughout the fall semester, HCC is offering virtual workshops on skills to help you succeed. Coming up very soon, September the 9th, today, 11 a.m. after this show, Communication Skills for Success, that'll be held. And also one called Effective Note-Taking, which is very important. That's 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. Wednesday, September 15th. So whether digitally or good old-fashioned pen and paper, learn how to the most efficient way to take notes in school and in business. We'll have links to register in our social media post for the show. And if you got a green thumb for gardening, HCC's Northwest has a program for you.
Yes, our Northwest Community Learning Gardening programs continue with permaculture, and that's from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. on Monday, September the 13th. And again, we will provide that link in our post, so you can go and register.
I want to skip on down to a very important thing for our students, especially if you're registered for the fall and you need help paying for college. You may have heard on this show and several of our shows, it's really the best time to be going to a community college, especially HCC, because HCC received $59 million in the Higher Education Emergency Relief Fund in response to the COVID pandemic. This means currently enrolled students for fall 2021 or get this, spring 2022 can apply for funds to cover the costs of tuition, fees, books, childcare, healthcare, food, housing, transportation. This is a grant. It's not a loan. You don't have to pay it back. You have to request the funding through September 10th, which is tomorrow. Request the funding. They will pay it out in 2 payments for the semester. This could literally pay for all of your tuition for the semester. It's game changing. So make sure you ask for this money. The government's providing it. It's there for you, folks. So make sure you get on board. And if you haven't registered for the fall, well, you missed out, but we have Second Start just about a week away.
Yes, on September the 20th. So that's around the corner. So as we know, there have been lots of changes here at HCC's course delivery. And for the first few weeks to safeguard our students, we have this option. So online anytime, most of those classes will return to remote now. Online on a schedule, again, most classes remote now. And hybrid lab, only some will be offered. The hybrid courses are not offered for the first few weeks, and in person are not offered for the first few weeks either.
That's right. So October 4th is the target date. We will keep you up to date right here with anything that comes out from administration and where we're going with that. But the main thing is register now, get some of those HERF funds, but you have to do so by September the 10th. You got to be registered for the fall. So make sure you register today at hccs.edu/now. Tomorrow on the show, we got a special guest, Janet May. She's our Chief Human Resources Officer. She's going to bring us up to date with HR's latest from talent engagement. Plus, she just recently received the national award. We'll congratulate her for that. And it's Film Friday tomorrow, Carolina.
Oh, and we will welcome a guest to talk about the reopening of the rooftop cinema in Uptown. I can't wait to go there. So after a long COVID hiatus, they are back, and we can't wait to see what's on the big screen in the sky.
Okay, all that and more tomorrow and Up to the Minute. That wraps up today's show. Have a good Thursday. Remember, rebroadcast of this program on HCCTV at noon and 5 p.m. on our cable channel. We're live every morning, 10 a.m. right here on Up to the Minute.